Hi, it's Meryl Goldsmith, and welcome to another Around Amesbury. I have one of my good friends that I've known forever through the Amesbury Educational Foundation and just being in Amesbury. Lane Glenn is he.
Yeah.
I know, neighbors. And you are also the president of Northern Essex Community College. And I know, which I think is wonderful. You've been there since 2011.
Yeah, longest serving president in the state at this point. Been a while. I love it. It's a great place.
Yeah, I really got to know it when my son was in high school and he did the early college program.
Yeah.
And that was really, I mean, I always knew it was there. It was very cool, and but I really got to know it through that program, and it was just wonderful.
We work with a number of different high schools now, and Amesbury was the very first one.
Yeah.
Right? This is where it began for us, the early college program, really more than 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago here in Amesbury. And it flourished from there, and thousands of students have been through that program at this point. It's done so many good things for so many students and families.
I think it was so amazing that when he graduated from high school, and I can't quite remember all the numbers, but he at least had a year-ish of college credits. I don't remember exactly.
That's what we try to do.
Yeah.
We try to arrange it so that students who participate have at least a year.
Yeah.
Some of them do more than that. My own daughters both ended up completing their associate degree while in Amesbury High School.
I know.
At the same time as their high school diploma. So it varies, but we try to make sure that each student gets at least a year.
I know. And then he actually went to an out-of-state school, and they took the credits. Because I know that if you go to an in-state state school, that's like a little program that you guys have going on. But they were impressed enough that they took his credits.
Well, families should
yes.
know. I mean, families looking to pay for college and strategize how to get into college. One good thing about this demographic cliff that colleges have been facing, where enrollment has been declining, is more of those colleges are willing to take those credits and accept students, and families have a lot more choices than they may have had a decade or so ago.
That's really interesting. And I mean, I have like so many things that I want to talk about, and we only have like a half an hour, but just continuing on that, people have to now have funding strategies for college. And I just find it awful, because I would say something worse than that.
This is a family show, Meryl.
Yeah, I know. That somebody would come out of college not being able to buy a house and do all the economic things that are adulting. And, adulting's not always fun, but certainly those things are a good thing, because they are just drowning in college debt.
There have been mixed messages around the college experience for really a few decades now, right? For most of the last few decades, the message has been, go to college, you need a degree in order to succeed. And that there's some truth to that, right? Especially in Massachusetts, where we are the most educated state in the nation. More of our adults have a college degree than anywhere else in America, other than Washington, D.C. It's not a state, we don't count. Massachusetts is number one. And that's largely good.
Yeah.
It also means that more jobs require those degrees that maybe shouldn't, right? So over the last couple of years, you've seen, for example, the Healy administration announce this skills-based hiring push. They've taken the bachelor's degree requirement away from a lot of state jobs and are encouraging employers to do the same thing. A college degree is still needed for a lot of those high-paying, high-skilled jobs, and increasingly an associate degree, a certificate, something after high school but not necessarily a full-on bachelor's degree will also get those jobs, and you can save a lot of money and a lot of time. So that's one strategy to think about.
I know that there's something called Mass Educates, excuse me. I don't want to boil it down too much, but basically it's free college for Massachusetts residents. I mean, there are some, restrictions, obviously, as with anything, but I looked into it. There are not a lot of restrictions for that. And boy, looking back on it with my son, I wish I had done this. Yeah.
You're right. There aren't a lot of restrictions. There are a number, about half the states in the country now have some kind of free college program. And I put this up there because, of course, there's nothing's free. Somebody pays for it somewhere.
Right.
And Massachusetts has one of the most wide open, accessible free college programs anywhere in America at this point. If you don't already have a degree and you are a resident of the state of Massachusetts, college is free for you. Community college.
Community college.
And even the state universities in UMass, if you make under a certain amount of money, it's free for you. So there are opportunities even in the four-year sectors, right? But if you're a resident of Amesbury or somewhere in this area, let me say something very clearly to everybody watching this show.
Okay.
There is no reason any family in America ever has to go into six-figure debt to pay for college, at all. It doesn't have to happen. There are a lot of choices along the way, right? Choices to use early college to get advanced credits, choices to go to a community college to save money or to get a free degree, choices to use things like transfer options from the community college to a public state university that also saves you money. There's so many money-saving strategies here that, yes, we also happen to be one of the states that now has 3 or 4 universities that are over $100,000 per year, Meryl? Right?
My brain's exploding.
How do you wrap your head around that?
I know. That's great.
If you have the money and
Yeah.
want that experience, power to you.
Yeah.
If you don't, there are so many options, and by and large, most people end up in the same kinds of jobs, right? It's true, right? By and large, that university for most people is not going to be the difference between the job you get when you go out into your career.
And what I love about this too is that with a lot of programs in the state, which I think rightly so, they're income based.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we pay our tax dollars to help people who need help. But this program is not income based. I mean, it's based like you can't just, already have a bachelor's and then, I want, But I think what dawns on me about that is that if you're unsure what you want to do, that seems like a perfect opportunity to take some courses that, maybe I want to do this. I've thought about that, but I don't know. Would I be good at that? I don't know. Like, is that true?
You can, sure.
Yeah.
The other feature of this program that's different than most other states is you can go part-time, right?
Okay, right.
Many states that have some kind of free college program require full-time attendance. You can take 2 classes, and yes, you can experiment a bit, or you can, because you're juggling family and work responsibilities, take a couple classes at a time. We started this a couple of years ago with people over the age of 25. We invited, if you're an older student, come back, finish what you started maybe.
Yeah.
And then we expanded it to everybody just this year. So this is the first full year that we've done this.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
enrollments are up. Right?
Good,
A lot more students
good.
on campus
Yeah.
at all the community colleges, and we're grateful for that. We lost some people during COVID, right? There's some people sat out.
Yeah. And it's hard to get back in. Like, it's not hard to do the paperwork to get back in, but your life moves along and your life gets crazy, and you may have had another kid, and and all of that stuff, like whatever it is, and that could be a really good entry point back in to finish.
Something else that has changed since many people, if you're someone who tried to go to college once before and it's been several years and you're coming back now, one thing you'll find is one of our fastest growing types of classes is what we call hybrid classes, right? You're in a classroom for some portion of the week, maybe it's an hour or 2, and you're doing more online as well, right? So it's that best of both worlds kind of a thing, the flexibility of completing some work online, maybe not being in person as much. We still have full face-to-face classes, you're in person for the entire thing, and this hybrid model works really well for working adults who want the structure of coming to a class for a little while.
But they have a life
and
that
the
is,
flexibility,
gets in the way of the whole thing.
Yeah, so that too.
Let's talk a little bit about the Whittier collaboration, because I think it's brilliant that that Northern Essex and Whittier are going to collaborate. They both seem to complement each other.
Absolutely. It's become very expensive to build any kind of school, a college, a grade school, definitely a career and technical education high school, right, that has a lot of specialized labs. Certainly when the price tag was announced for Whittier a year and a half or so ago, it was expensive, right, $445 million. And since then, just in Massachusetts, we've had price tags at $750 million for these schools. It was not an outlier, right? It has become very expensive to build these schools. And across most of the country, community colleges are already doing this kind of education and training, right? They're involved in the trades, construction trades, HVAC, plumbing, electric, all that kind of stuff, apprenticeship, skilled trades, as well as other kinds of fields for which maybe you can do something with a high school education and a certificate of some kind, graphic design work or something. And you can also benefit from additional post-secondary experience, an associate degree, a bachelor's degree. It's not really an either-or thing where either you're going to do this skilled trades training or you're going to do this thing that puts you on a college track. The beauty of what we're trying to accomplish with Whittier is saving money for the communities, right, by sharing spaces, and by leveraging other kinds of funding, right, besides the money that is already there in the state for vocational technical school funding, higher ed funding, both for building and for operating, those kinds of things. How can we weave that together, save some money while expanding opportunities for early college and post-secondary credentials and all the kinds of things that employers want, right? I mean, that's what we're really after here.
You want to get out of school and get a good job.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't care who you are. It just really feels like that's one of the things that everybody wants.
There are all kinds of reasons people attend college.
Right.
And the life of the mind, believe me, I love that, right? I was an English major. I studied literature as an undergraduate and then, went on and did the arts and leadership and all these things. I love all of that, the life of the mind thing. And if you ask our students why they're there, to a person, one of the first answers they're going to give you is what you just said, right? I want this job, or I want this better job, or this career. They're very pragmatic about it, and very career focused. And that should be one of, if not the most important things that we have as a North Star, is helping people get there.
I know, because it didn't used to be that way. It used to be, I'm going to just say, more academic, and now people really look at it a lot differently than when I first went to college. Speaking about some of the cool programs that you have coming on, I was looking at your website. By the way, I want to say it's necc.mass.edu.
That's the one.
Yeah, and so everybody should go look at it. There's like so much information on there. I noticed that a few months ago that you were awarded money to this community college nursing grant to expand the workforce. And with the bulk of the population aging, I would think that there are a lot of jobs in that field.
There are, yes, there are a lot.
But you need training. Like, it's not, you can't just,
you
need some kind of training.
There are a lot more jobs than there are people going into those jobs. That's one of the
right.
reasons for that grant that you pointed toward, right?
Yeah.
Very specifically, that grant was meant to help diversify the nursing pipeline, find more bilingual nurses, right? Up and down the Merrimack Valley here, we have become, very multicultural group of communities up and down this valley. Spanish is a first language spoken in many households. We want to be able to serve all the populations that come into the hospitals. Each year, about a third of our graduates at the college, all total graduates, about a third of them are in healthcare fields.
Wow.
So nursing certainly is a strong one, respiratory therapy, radiologic technology, you name it. I mean, we've got all these different programs. And we're always looking for ways to expand those opportunities for all those healthcare professionals. Again, working backward from what does the workforce need, right? And as the population ages, it's something I think more and more about these days than I used to.
Well, back at you.
As the population ages, we want to make sure they are well taken care of, right, Meryl?
Not me, but
all of them,
Yes,
yes. So,
but it is a real life problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, all joking aside, it really, really is, and I think that's wonderful that people can get, because there's many different things that they can get through that healthcare portal. I mean, it's a very wide field.
It is. Oftentimes people will come to the college anticipating that they're going to become a nurse. That's the one of the number one expressions of career interests, right? It's a hard field to get into. We are an open admissions college. We admit absolutely everybody, and we have a few programs that are, have criteria around them. You've got to pass tests. You've got to, get a certain grade in anatomy and physiology.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people get thrown by that one.
Yeah.
So there are a few points along the way where sometimes students don't quite make the grade that they need to make. And when they don't, we have all these other options in healthcare that are very rewarding, both in terms of feeling good about what you do as a professional in the healthcare industry, and financially rewarding as a career to help sustain families, right? Those other categories of work. We're about to launch, for example, a new surgical technology program.
What does that mean, surgical technology?
Well, so we've got hospitals in the area, from Anna Jake's over to Lawrence General and Holy Family, that have surgical units in them. and those surgeons need assistance, right? And this is one of those fields that they're short on people to provide that assistance in those rooms. So every hospital in the state
actually assisting in an
Oh, yeah.
operation in operating.
well,
room?
helping with the prep, the equipment.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah. All the things
fascinating.
that happen to
I'm sure
prepare
before
for
that,
Yeah.
and even after, right?
before and
yeah.
all those kinds
yeah.
of things, right?
Wow, how
and again, it's one of
interesting.
those entry-level jobs that you can find your way into a role like a surgical technologist, and then over time get additional education and training, right? Perhaps become a nurse at some point,
Yeah.
or become a doctor at some point. Those are on-ramps that we provide.
And then just being just that much north of Boston, and the biggest, most prestigious hospitals in the world are less than an hour from here.
And we
Yeah.
regularly have students, in clinical rotation, certainly in all the hospitals up here in the Merrimack
Right.
Valley, and oftentimes in those big prestigious hospitals too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. That's so interesting. Another program, which is kind of a little bit about that, is that you entered into an agreement to do this lab sciences thing. My husband's a scientist,
yeah.
and it just jumped out at me as he's always talking about the fact that there are not quality. You can't just like with a nurse, you can't just say I want to go into a lab
Right.
and work.
Yeah.
There's training that's involved with that.
Yeah, and we're really proud of that program
Yeah.
because it's an example of what I was describing earlier when I said that while a bachelor's degree or more than that is a requirement for a lot of jobs in Massachusetts, it doesn't have to be. So many years ago, more than a decade ago, we were hearing from life science companies, like those that your husband may work with,
Yeah.
that they were hiring people with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and even doctorates, and they knew a lot. They couldn't always do a lot. Yeah, and
Right.
and by the way,
Yeah.
they had to pay them more,
Yeah.
and they left faster, right? Because they were using those as on ramps to
Yeah,
other
yeah.
jobs. So not only were they not always capable of doing the sort of entry-level tasks that needed to be done for the roles for which they were hired, but they didn't stick around very long and they cost a lot. So we worked with some of these companies to help profile those jobs and figure out what's strictly necessary to be a quality assurance technician, right? To run a couple of bench test protocols, not to design them necessarily, but to operate them, a couple times a day. The entry-level positions in a water treatment facility or someplace like that. And we created an associate degree program, an applied associate degree program, which is different from an associate degree that has a lot of...
Why? Explain that to me just a little bit.
Yeah, so most associate degrees have a lot of general education courses, right? Writing classes, political science, all the general ed courses. This applied degree has fewer general education courses and more courses in the specific major because it's not expected necessarily that you'll go on to a bachelor's degree, right? You can graduate with the associate degree.
And go on to this job.
Go right into
Right,
work. And,
yeah.
and that's what happens, right? So we embed internships in those programs, and many times the students are hired right out of the internship with the employer for whom they're interning.
So one of my really good friends is the head site person for Pfizer in Andover.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally 15 minutes past the school.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge facility.
And
it's
they
just
are indeed one of the employers that we've interacted with
I know.
in this program.
It's just this jumped out at me when I was looking through your website at all the things there. So we have about 10 minutes left. I've brought up the things that kind of I want to talk about. What else would you like people to know about starting the college experience or completing the college experience? Taking that first step. Is that first step the hardest step for some people?
It can be.
Yeah.
I was a first-generation college student, right? College going wasn't something that we knew much about in my family.
That's so funny. Now you're the president of college.
I'm president of college, which shows you, right, what's possible, I suppose.
Right.
And a lot of people are, right? Right now, as you and I are sitting here, only about a third of Americans have a bachelor's degree, right? Most don't. Most don't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Many will try to go to college, and it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
But only about a third. What that means is there are a lot of first-generation college students out there. Now, frequently they start at a community college, or they'll start at a public university that doesn't have high selection, in expensive places. Sometimes the families who don't have a college-going history may make less money, right? That was the case with my family. Didn't have a lot of money, didn't know a lot about how to go to college. When I was young and in high school, I was a writer and wanted to be a journalist. Wanted to be the next Lou Grant, but with hair. You'll know what I mean.
Oh
by
no,
that.
I know who you're talking about.
And somebody told me, well, you should apply to Columbia University because, right, for journalism.
Yeah.
So Meryl, I did. I applied to the University of Missouri at Columbia because I lived in Oklahoma. And that, I mean, what did I know about Columbia?
Okay.
I knew nothing about Columbia. That true story.
Yeah.
Right? I was accepted, but couldn't afford to go. And
that hurts my heart to hear that. You know, that's just even now. I mean, translating that to now, that somebody who has these aspirations and the door is just shut in their face. And I think that this is a way for the door to be opened.
Thank you. That's what we specialize in at Northern Essex and really at any of the community colleges around the state, right?
Yeah.
We specialize in that. You know, come to us with whatever knowledge you have about going to college. We'll help you figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll help you talking about career interests. I mean, if you may or may not know for sure. By the way, even if you think you know, that can change.
Oh, yeah.
I said I was going to be a journalist. Look at me now,
well,
right?
I actually did what I have a degree in.
There you go.
But that's where my son is nowhere near where he was told what he should be and where he is now don't have anything to do with each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like that.
It's true, right. By the time you're 40, right, most of the
Yeah.
people around you are doing something they didn't necessarily go to school for.
Right.
Not to suggest you shouldn't figure out a major, you should. You're better off when you have a plan. So we can help you come up with a plan. We can help you figure out how to finance that plan. We can help you strategize if you need to transfer to another college or university at some point and help you get there most efficiently. We can help you with all of those things, right? Whatever your interests are. In terms of succeeding in college, right, there are a few things, pieces of advice that over the years I find myself giving to people oftentimes. One of them is really simple. You know, I've had nieces, nephews, my own kids who have gone off to college. And the one thing I say to them more than anything else that they should do when they get there is get to know at least one, right? At least one of your professors really well. Visit them in their office hours frequently. And then get to know another one the next semester and another one the next semester. Those relationships tend to be the things that keep students coming back when they feel that they're flailing, that set them up for success when it's time for letters of recommendation or charting career paths, those kinds of things. Make us work for it, right? Whatever you're paying, right? It doesn't matter whether you're at one of those $100,000 a year colleges or free community college. We're there for you. Make us work for it. The students who access faculty and advisors and rely on them to get to know them and get advice from all that kind of stuff is one of the surest ways that students can succeed at an institution. Now there are lots of others, right?
Yeah.
My wife works in a tutoring center. I shouldn't leave out tutoring. Librarians are essential, right? Yeah. We're here next to the library at Amesbury High School.
Right.
All that stuff, right? Take advantage of every service that the college has for you. I mean, it's what they're there for. But the central message here is anybody can attend, pay for, and thrive at Northern Essex Community College, at a community college in the state, one of the public universities. All kinds of ways to do this. Give us a chance, and we'll help you with that.
So, if somebody, what is the starting point? I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but where should somebody start? We have moved somebody by doing this show, and they're like, so. I'm doing it.
Well, all right. So
okay.
A few different ways.
All right.
You provided the website already, necc.mass.edu. They can go there. They can follow the instructions for how to apply. You can show up on campus. We have two campuses, right? We're in Haverhill. We're in Lawrence. Either of those two campuses, we have admissions professionals who can help you with that. You can call us 978-556-3000. We'll take care of you. If you know me, see me around town, stop me, I'll help you. Again, that's why we're there, right? Any one of us. So the website, the phone, show up on campus. We're preparing now for for fall. Fall starts in September. So some weeks ahead, depending on when people see this, to get that going. And by the way, you don't have to just start with us in the fall. Here's something a lot of people don't realize too. They might think, well, I missed the opportunity. September is come and gone.
Yeah.
We have 11 different start times throughout the year.
11?
11, right? So we start when everybody else starts right after Labor Day. We have a second semester fall start date halfway through for 8-week semesters. We have a winter intersession that's only 3 weeks long. We do a couple in the spring, we do a few in the summer. There's a start time coming up, right? Just about any time of the year. You probably aren't going to have to wait more than a few weeks to start a class with us.
And could you pull that together? I mean, could somebody pull that together?
We'll help you figure that out.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So that's what our advisors are for.
Yeah. All right.
Come and talk with our advisors and talk to us about your life. What does your work schedule look like? Are you taking care of kids? Do you have any health issues? What transportation? All of that stuff, right? And depending on somebody's needs, we can often refer people to resources for those things as well, right? We try to help make this as turnkey as possible for people who want to get into college. Yeah.
I think that's. I just think it's just wonderful, and how you started off saying that, okay, go spend your $100,000 a year if that's your path. I mean, it's nothing to do with us, right? But that you don't have to do that, and you can get a quality education. And I often think about, it's not, I don't know, it hasn't come up in forever. Like, where did you go to college, Meryl? Isn't it about like, well, where did you work last?
Show me your transcript.
Yeah, I know.
What grade did you get in sociology?
I know. And I don't, maybe for the first job or whatever, I don't know. I don't think it becomes less important. And, I know for me, I always wanted to go to college. It was just something that I personally wanted to accomplish, and I worked hard at it, and I did.
Yeah.
And, but now, between vocational things and all of the other things that we talked about with, the lab sciences, and I'm going to call it nursing, but it's such a wider field, than that. And other programs too at Northern Essex.
Oh yeah, sure. So beyond the healthcare programs, our other large majors include business, education, criminal justice, human services, a wide range. We have more than 60 degree and certificate programs.
60.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're launching that new one in surgical technology that I mentioned. We've recently launched a new strand of our business degrees in marketing. So I take a look at what we've got there. There's probably something there for everyone, including sort of general education transfer programs. If you aren't sure yet, or you're going to be pre-med and you want to find an affordable way to start that experience, right? Get your associate degree in general education transfer, and queue yourself up to save a lot of money.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Over 20 years of going to
Come
school,
on,
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we are just about out of time. Again, it's necc.mass.edu, and the phone number is 978-556-3000. And please go to the website. I mean, the website's terrific. So, it has so much information there. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming into the studio. Lane Glenn, the president of Northern Essex Community College. It's been just such a pleasure chatting with you.
Wonderful to talk with you,
and seeing
Meryl.
you, my friend.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for watching another Around Amesbury. Have a great day.